Once you have begun working on a new project, one of the first things you should do is save the project. When you first start a new project, Revit assigns it a name. It actually just calls it project and assigns a number. But the project has not yet actually been saved to a file. This is just a temporary name that the program assigns. To save your project, you can click the Save button in the Quick Access toolbar, or click in the Application menu and choose Save. Revit displays the Save As dialog so that you can save the file. While you can accept the temporary project file name, you'll probably want to give it a more meaningful name. You may also need to save it in a specific folder on your computer or network. The name you assign can contain letters, numbers, dashes, and spaces. I'll call this project My Building and then click the Save button. Now, in the title bar at the top of the Revit window, I can see the name of the project as well as the name of the current view. Revit does not save files automatically, so it's a good idea to save your work frequently, say every 30 minutes. If you haven't saved your work in a while, Revit will periodically remind you to save the project. By default, Revit will display a reminder if it's been more than 30 minutes since you last saved the project. You can change this reminder interval from within the Options dialog by changing the Save Reminder interval in the General Options. Now that I've named and saved this project, if I click on the Save button again, Revit will no longer prompt me for the project file name. This is also true when I click Save in the Application menu. When I save a project after it has already been saved once, Revit simply saves my changes. Each time you subsequently save a project, Revit saves the project using the same project file name and renames the previous project file, the RVT file, appending a number. So the second time I saved the My Building project, the previous version of the project file will be renamed mybuilding.0001.rvt. The next time I save the project, the previous version will be renamed mybuilding.0002.rvt, and so on. If you ever need to go back to an earlier version of the project, you can simply open one of these backup files. Sometimes, you may want to save your changes to a new project file. In such situations, you can use the Save As tool. Notice that in the Application menu, you can see the Save As tool. If you choose Save As Project, Revit displays the Save As dialog again so that you can save the current project with a different name. Also, if you click on the Options button, Revit displays the File Save Options dialog. By default, Revit keeps a maximum of 3 backup files. You can change this value in the File Save Options dialog if you wish. You can also use other controls in this dialog to specify the view used as the preview image when you open or save a project, compact files to remove obsolete parts when working with Workset-enabled project files, and so on. When you're finished working on a project, you need to close the project file. Although you can close a project file by simply closing all of its open views, if you have many views open, this can take quite a while. When you're finished working on a project, the easiest way to close the project is to use the Close tool in the Application menu. When you click Close, Revit will close the current project. If you've made changes since you last saved the project, Revit will prompt you to save your changes before closing the project file.